It was just a normie, ordinary day, until 5 men surrounded him trying to hijack his car. But his instincts were sharp. He pulled out a knife, ready to fight. One slash, they backed off fast. It was a quiet afternoon as a father and his daughter prepared to leave the house. The gate stood open and the driveway calm. As the father opened the boot of their car, a suspicious vehicle screeched to a halt just outside the gate. Before they could react, 3 armed men jumped out and rushed toward them. Panic set in. The daughter let out a terrified scream, her voice cutting through the still air. In that moment, her husband, alerted by the scream, stormed out of the house, armed and ready. The robbers froze for a split second before turning to flee. A shot rang out as he fired toward them, and the criminals scrambled back into their car, speeding off. A group of men jump over a Durahall fence to rob a house, but as soon as they land, a fierce dog appears and chases them. Terrified, they all scramble back and jump out of the yard, fleeing quickly as the dog pursues them until they disappear. A man stood beside his car, calmly pouring fuel into the tank, unaware of what was about to happen. Suddenly, a vehicle pulled up nearby and came to a sharp stop. Without warning, a group of men jumped out and rushed toward him, clearly trying to rob him and take his car. But instinct kicked in. Without panicking, the man turned the fuel nozzle away from his car and began spraying petrol at the attackers. Anyone who came too close was quickly drenched. Shocked and caught off guard, the robbers froze for a moment, then panicked. Fearing he might set them on fire or alert others, they quickly ran back to their car and sped off. It was a quiet afternoon when an elderly man pulled into his driveway, just as his granddaughter was opening the gate to let him in. As the gate slowly swung open, an unknown vehicle suddenly screeched to a halt nearby. In a flash, 2 men jumped out and rushed toward the old man's car, shouting threats and trying to force him out. Panic filled the air as the men aggressively harassed him, demanding the keys. But just as things took a dark turn, the family's loyal dogs, sensing danger, came charging from the yard. Barking fiercely, they lunged at the attackers, biting and driving them back. Startled and caught off guard, the thugs tried to fend off the dogs. Within seconds, the man's daughter rushed out of the house, screaming for help at the top of her lungs. The commotion, barking, and shouts of distress sent the hijackers into a panic. Realizing it was a quiet afternoon when an elderly man arrived at home to pick up his family. Just as the gate began to close behind him, he stepped out of his vehicle, warmly greeting a family member waiting by the driveway. Suddenly, an unknown car screeched to a halt outside the gate. Before anyone could react, the gate was forced open and a group of armed men charged in, clearly intent on hijacking the vehicle. In a moment of sheer bravery and quick thinking, the elderly man grabbed his car keys and flung them onto the roof of the house, putting the vehicle out of immediate reach. Confused and unable to start the car, the would-be hijackers panicked. Realizing their plan had been foiled, they turned and fled. A cash-in-transit guard had just collected money and was heading out of the building when 2 armed men suddenly confronted him. Without hesitation, shots rang out as the suspects tried to ambush him. Acting fast, the guard fired back, hitting one and forcing the other to retreat. Amid the chaos, he made a quick dash to his vehicle, escaping with the money secure. It was a normal afternoon in a busy parking lot. A driver had just parked their vehicle, unaware that danger was seconds away. Suddenly, an unknown vehicle sped into the lot and screeched to a halt nearby. Before anyone could react, 2 armed men jumped out and sprinted toward the parked car, guns drawn, ready to hijack. But the driver was alert and quick thinking. In a split second, they threw the car into reverse, dodging the attackers. Then, without hesitation, they accelerated forward, smashing straight into the hijacker's vehicle, creating just enough chaos to make a clean escape. The thugs, caught off guard and scrambling, could do nothing. It was just another delivery run until a man suddenly jumped onto the truck, trying to hijack it. But the driver didn't panic. He hit the gas, speeding off with the thug still clinging to the side, begging, "Slow down!" Wind roaring, the hijacker held on for dear life, terrified. Moments later, he lost his grip and hit the ground hard. The driver drove straight to safety. No truck stolen. It was a tense afternoon for a local businessman who sensed something was wrong. While driving, he noticed an unfamiliar vehicle following him at every turn. Trusting his instincts, he remained calm but cautious. As soon as he parked his car, he quickly reached for his handgun, just in case. Moments later, the same vehicle stopped behind him, and two armed men jumped out, heading straight toward him. Without hesitation, the businessman opened fire, catching them off guard. The gunman immediately turned and ran back to their vehicle under a hail of bullets. His swift reaction and calm under pressure saved him from what could have been a dangerous hijacking.